I did not expect this content to even exist. Apparently, people have full-out brawls at weddings, as if it is the Jerry Springer show. We're gonna hear all about them. Buffet fight leads to a broken nose. Dear everyone that's attending a wedding in the upcoming months and years, there's always enough food at the buffet. Always, always, always. At a wedding in Norfolk, England in 2013, a family brawl broke out over a piece of chicken at the buffet. Honestly, I would fist fight for a pickle. The whole thing started when the best man pushed into the line for the buffet to get food for his son, and that move got on everyone's nerves to an extreme. The groom, Ben, who's 26, said everything started at the buffet table when his brother reached over to get a piece of chicken, and the name calling started. He said Kurt thought he was pushing in the queue and called him a fat, very inappropriate word that starts with a C. My brother just told him there was no need to use that sort of language. The fight got so intense that the bride's sister, Crystal, 29, ended up with a broken nose and 2 black eyes. Wait a second, she wasn't even involved. Girl, learn to walk away. Food fight turns into a real fight. What is it with food? Do you guys not have enough food at people's weddings? In 2014, a wedding in Yorkshire, England, devolved into total chaos after the drunken party guests started spraying each other with water guns and throwing pork pies. Water guns at a wedding? That sounds like a good time. Chris, one of the guys who runs the Herald Club where the wedding was held, told The Telegraph, people had been drinking since 2 p.m. Apparently, there was some tension building for an hour or so before it happened. It all started with a water pistol, then a pork pie got thrown. Not the pie. I've worked here for 14 years and I've never seen anything like it. We had to shut the bar at 7 p.m. when it was supposed to be open until 11. You made the right call there, Chris. You made the right call. Bride's ex starts a fight in the craziest way ever. Why the heck is the bride's ex there? That's what I want to know. If you find out that your ex is getting married and you have a photo of them in a compromising, intimate position, delete it. Actually, you know what? Go back in time and don't even take the photo because everyone involved is going to regret it. Case in point, at a wedding reception in Toronto, Ontario, a Canadian did this? You're kidding. A giant brawl broke out when the bride's ex-boyfriend placed photos of her crow blob on all of the tables. Yikes. According to someone on Twitter, the bride's brother thought it was one of the groomsmen and things started popping off from there. If you think you hate your ex, just think about this moment, okay? Indian wedding where bride marries guest ends up in a brawl. I'm sorry? This 2015 wedding turned into an absolute mess when the groom suffered a seizure at the altar, which led the bride to decide to keep the wedding going by marrying one of the attendees. The very cool guy who she ended up marrying was wearing a leather jacket and bad idea jeans when he agreed to it because after Groom 1.0 received medical treatment and returned to the wedding, he started a massive fight where the two families used whatever dishes they had at their disposal as weapons to beat down their enemies. I'm sorry, but the only person we should be angry at right now is the bride and maybe the leather jacket dude. Like, bro, weird of you to agree to that. Australian wedding is as intense as you'd think it is. Australians are nuts, y'all. If you're from Australia, please don't throw a boomerang towards America because of this story. And the fight that broke out in the street outside a wedding is proof times a million. At about 12 a.m. after a December wedding in 2016, about 25 to 30 people started beating on each other at a wedding reception at the Conca-Dororo Function Center outside Sydney, Australia. According to the police, a 22-year-old man was knocked unconscious and given heinous mouth and nasal injuries. Crikey! What is there to possibly fight about on such a beautiful day? You also live in Australia. It's so beautiful there. Like the weather. What do you have to complain about? Besides your giant ass freaking spiders. Australian wedding or military PCP experiment. Australia is here to show up everyone who thinks they know how to do a wedding brawl. Well, you heard it here first, kids. No competition. Although the Toronto one, it's pretty high up there. In 2014, police in Sydney showed up to Lily's Restaurant Bar and Function Center after a fight broke between some wedding guests and 5 random guys walking through a parking lot. As if a 9-guy pileup wasn't bad enough, the bride got into the mix and was reportedly running around and taking swings at people. Girl, no. A bystander to the event said that another person from the wedding used the fight as an excuse to rip up a bunch of fence posts, and that one of the men was hit in the head with a glass bottle that was later used to him in the neck. I can't say certain words on YouTube, believe it or not. They will flag me. Cell phone photo starts a wedding fight. Is it someone giving a crow blob? Why do people choose to start such insane fights at weddings? I have been wondering the same thing this entire video. Do they think it's a romantic gesture? Or is it all the free booze? I think it's the free booze. Probably all the free booze. Yep. In 2016, 23-year-old Taylor got into an argument with Jake after he discovered that Jake had a picture of his girlfriend having intercourse with Jake on his phone. So not a great way to start a conversation. Taylor started wailing on Jake and hit the man so hard that he left him unconscious for 3 to 5 minutes, in quotations. They set a timer. The father of the bride did his best to break up the fight, but he also got bonked in the face and had his trousers torn. Well, maybe y'all should just stop taking photos. I don't think you should cheat by any means, but in the act of intimacy, let's make better choices. Philly keeps their vibe alive. In 2016, a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania wedding reception kept its reputation solid when 34-year-old Joseph and a 17-year-old boy attacked a police officer at a wedding in the Hilton Garden Inn. According to the police, 20 or 30 wedding attendees were already going ham and beating each other up when the cops arrived and tried to break up the fight. Authorities said that one officer got caught up in the fray and was almost beaten to death after he fell. I feel like in a moment like that, you would regret that career path. Like, imagine getting your butt beat at a wedding with wedding guests just tagging you because of something that happened at the wedding. That's a bad day at work. A yacht club wedding in Boston is a recipe for disaster. Oh my God, tell me someone got pushed off the yacht. You can't have a rundown of wedding fights and not include a story from Boston, Massachusetts. I always say that so weird. Massachusetts? That was better. Fight capital of America. At the Danvers Sport Yacht Club on Boston's North Shore, the groom and a couple of other guys were arrested when the groom freaked out because 2 of his underage guests weren't allowed to get booze from the bar. According to attendees, the groom got so mad that he started yelling at the employee and then destroyed the coat room after a member of the bride's family tried to tell him to chill out. He then punched the bride's brother because why not? Why not? You might as well at that point. It's not a wedding until someone ends up in the river. Did I not just predict this with the yacht story? I'm gonna butcher that, so anyone from England, please forgive me now. A wedding in Gloucestershire turned into a frat party when about 20 people started smashing into each other at a post-wedding reception at the Swan in Bibury. The police said, "We were told that one person had been knocked unconscious, furniture had been hurled about, and someone had been thrown in the river." They also reported that guests were treated for head injuries and broken teeth. Okay, but the person in the river, are they alive and well? Did we do a search party? Did they get out of the river? What happened? I need more details. Meanwhile, in Russia, a bride is slap fighting her father-in-law. Well, this is a new one. Leave it to Russia to take the cake when it comes to wedding party brawls. In 2016, a bride to be known as Lena made the odd decision of giving her in-laws the finger during the wedding reception, setting off a chain of events that she had to see coming. Not only did her father-in-law refer to her as a freaking cow and a witch, but he also threatened to cut her finger off. On a recording of the fight, he can be heard saying, "What the heck is this? Put your middle finger on a plate and I will cut it with a knife." What the heck indeed? What the heck indeed? The father-in-law and bride got into a slap fight before she was dragged away to hopefully sober up. Yeah, I feel like some people just should not drink. Who knew a wedding at a brewery would be a bad idea? Well, I knew. As you may have guessed, most weddings in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania end up in two families smashing into each other a la wall of death. But at a wedding in June of 2016 that was held at the Yards Brewing Co., a fight broke out in one of the most classic ways. A police report states that a guy at a wedding was asked, "What are you staring at?" before he was punched in the face. A fight broke out and one of the combatants lost consciousness while the other suffered a fractured jaw. Never change Billy. Oh my God. I cannot imagine having to go to the hospital with these kinds of injuries and being like, oh my God, what happened? But someone asked what I was staring at. All right, guys, those were some insane wedding brawls. I'm getting out of here. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. Bye.